What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Crumbs update. I guess this is going to be a part two because it's technically the same day as I made the other one, the other update, but now it's the daytime. Uh, but you can never tell in a basement apartment because no windows, so I guess it's kind of good. But this might be a very long update, so all I can say is,
Hold on, sugar. Daddy's got a sweet tooth tonight.
just love that. One of the most underrated movies of all time. But it proves a point. I do have a lot of stuff to go over and talk about. But one thing I want to talk about real fast is I have 2 new subscribers. I'm now up to 25. Yay! So, thank you. And they are Dicky Shits, which is a very interesting name. I definitely laughed when I read that one. And Sleepy Reader 666. As King Joe knows, I now use a list just to make sure I get all my stuff together and get it on point. So yeah, but it doesn't always work when you forget to write down what's on the list. Stuff in your, well, anyway. Moving on. This update, basically I want to go over I got a couple requests, a couple of questions people were asking, and a couple of responses there, and a couple of points that I'd like to make. Sleepy Reader 666 actually asked me a question, do comic book stores make money off of the trade paperbacks over single issues? Which I hope you're talking about trades, because that's pretty much what it said. Good question, very good question. And do they make money? They do now. Back in the day, I'm going to use that a lot. So, in the 80s, a lot of comic book stores didn't carry a lot of trades because they weren't making money on them. That's because bookstores existed. And don't mind me, I'm kind of tired, so I'm not used to the daylight. I'm trying to redo my hours, so bear with me. Anyway, when bookstores are around, bookstores would call up, Marvel, whatever, DC, we use Marvel as an example, and they would buy hundreds of titles, and multiple copies of it so they could sell it for cover price, which was, for this one, is $24.99. Whereas comic book stores would get them from Marvel or DC or whatever it was, and they wouldn't make that much money because they would have to double. They would charge more than cover price. They would charge like $50, $60 because the retailers like Marvel and DC would charge them full price for the book, so they wanted to make their money back and then make money. So it was a very crazy cycle. But nowadays it's different because nowadays they're actually making money off of these over single issues, because kids in general would go in there into comics. I've seen it a lot lately, and they look at this and this is a whole run. It's just every story for like the Phoenix was a Dark Phoenix saga in one book for $20-something. And parents like it too because they're not going to go and spend $6 to $15 per Dark Phoenix issue just so the kid can get the full run, where they can go ahead and buy the trade paperback. And now, because bookstores, especially around me, don't exist, Marvel and DC and all them, they basically, they give comic stores huge deals on these now. Same thing like regular issues, like this, they'll cut off $1 or $2 here and there. But these things, they actually do take a nice percentage out. So comic book stores now sell them for cover price, and they're making their money, and so on and so forth. So I hope that kind of answered that. Moving on, I got my checklist. Yeah, I'm trying to stay on point here. So don't let me. Mongo, Stomp 07, Gary, when you're watching your game, that was definitely multitasking. That's what I'm trying to do here. So let's see here. Moving down the line here. Got them done. All right, good. Alrighty. King Joe. Again, anyone watch this who's never seen King Joe's stuff, go check him out. He's got great stuff. Very, very informative on things. I'm always impressed. I mean, you have an unbelievable collection on toys and comics. It really is very, very cool. And a lot of when I watch your toy videos, it definitely brings me back to when I was a kid, during cool days. But moving on to a couple things. You were talking in your video, one other thing, I'm glad you liked the Mallrats clip. I figured that definitely would fit in there. But anyway, you were talking about in your video about Green Lantern and the whole emotional spectrum that they have where it got out of hand. I actually like the new characters that they came up with. The Rage one I thought was freaking awesome, the Red Lanterns, because they were so pissed off that they actually spit out blood. Did they get out of hand? Yes, they did. I do believe they got out of hand a little bit, but I just thought there were some pretty interesting characters there. I have to see what happens, but DC, they want to make their money, so. It kind of brings me into another thing. You were saying that Hope is dead. You might be right. Me personally, on a personal level, I don't think hope is dead. Quite honestly, hope kept me alive in a lot of situations, especially like I've said to everyone on here. Not like a dark secret or I'm really ashamed of it. It's just one of those times that you kind of wish you could forget. But when I was homeless and I was eating out of trash cans and garbage bins and sleeping in a car if I was lucky and we had the car at the certain time. Everything you're in a car, everything's stacked up that you own. If you're lucky, if it wasn't thrown out, and I had my parents in the two front seats and I was in the back, like crushed by all these boxes of stuff, and my dog was laying across the floor, and it was horrible. But hope really did. It kept me going. I just kept hoping and praying that that things were going to change and get better, and it took some time, but it did happen. I mean, right now I consider this a palace compared to what a lot of things I've lived in and gone through. And I'm not really saying that to depress anybody. I don't want people to feel sorry for me, because I think I've come out of it a better person, because it gives me a better perspective on things. I don't judge people the way some people do judge. I mean, you look around, people judge people because they have tattoos. People judge people because they're different culture. I mean, I'm not a racist person at all. I same thing like religion. I'm not going to get into religion. Um, Religion, I think I don't have a specific one. I know that sounds really weird. Everyone's like, "Oh, what the hell?" Then you're this or you're that. I'm not anything. I believe that God doesn't need high finances. I believe that religions, every religion has a good point, but not one specific one got it right. But same thing with like people. I've seen people that are covered with tattoos that are nicest people in the world, but people look at it like, oh my god, that guy's a freak. You never know. You really don't know, and that's kind of the problem with the world nowadays is that you don't know with people. You don't know who to trust. You don't know what to do. But me, like I said, hope. I think it dwindles in people. And as for Green Lantern, obviously he uses willpower because that really is the strongest thing around. Because if you don't have the will to act, not that you're useless, but you're not going to get things done. My friends always say, like, for wishing or hoping, you can wish and hope in one hand and crap in the other and see which gets fulfilled first. Hoping is a good thing. Dreaming is a good thing. But you can't dwell on it. You really, if you don't do something about it or do something to further your goals, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's just me. Same thing with like politicians. You were saying that I did hope, and that's why I didn't vote. Which basically I didn't vote for politicians because again they're all full of shit and they're just not worth it. I haven't seen one person yet that I actually 100% agreed with. I mean, Obama, I was really close. I was really close there because I was like, you know what, maybe he's got a point. Maybe he's going to do something. But then my better judgment was like, he's not going to do anything. And I think he had the best intentions in the world. But again, King Joe, you were definitely right. Is that like presidents, they all have high stakes in companies. Again, to go to war with Iraq, everyone knew it was for oil, even though it's not for oil. Like, but it's not for oil. I'm going to get this guy. I'm gonna come on, man. You were doing it all in your own pockets, and I think it's definitely out of hand now. Like we're over there again. We're still there for Obama. I'm bringing the troops back. He did bring a few back. Not gonna lie, but it's ridiculous. It really is stupid. Just call it a day. Let it go. I mean, there's only so much, I guess, revenge you can really take. And you got the people that obviously you got the people, but you really got to bring people home, man. Bring the soldiers back. Enough is enough. These people have families and they don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna send you guys out. You go do my dirty work. But again, it's ridiculous. And that brings me to a couple of things like America, in general. Pretty much all I can say is. Fuck yeah! Coming again to see the motherfucking day, yeah, America! Fuck yeah! That sums it up. But no, seriously, like King Joe, you were saying that when your family and stuff came over to America, you had to speak English. That was like a requirement, and rightfully so. Again, this is gonna probably sound extremely racist, but I'm not racist at all. I'm just trying to state a point of, especially observations that I've seen, apparently. family the same way. My family, when my aunt was from Ireland, she would say the same thing. She goes, if you didn't know English, they wouldn't let you in through Ellis Island. You just, my other family was Italian. My grandma used to talk about it all the time. She's like, I didn't speak any English, and she goes, when they booted me, they wouldn't let me cross. And she goes, I had to go back to Italy, and she goes, then I learned English, just enough, and I came back, and you know, but nowadays, unfortunately, like I said, it's gonna sound really, really racist. But now it's just like, you don't speak English, no problem. Come on over. We'll give you all the jobs you want. We'll give you as much money as we can give you. Um, it sounds horrible because when I was a kid in school, my teachers said, you have to learn Spanish. You have to learn Spanish. Spanish is a big thing. And I always just say like this stupid joke. Like, I'm not Spanish. I don't need to know Spanish. What the hell? What am I doing here? I don't need to know it. I don't plan on going anywhere. And it was funny because I always had like a lot of Mexican and Spanish people in my Spanish class. I'm like, that's evil. It's like I used to joke around. It's like that's me taking English. What the hell? But sounds horrible. But I'm not trying to get into that. But the point is that you really should have to speak English when you get here because it's insane. Um, Especially like nowadays, like America, jobs are in. You just can't find them. I mean, granted, I don't think that uh, immigrants, foreigners should not be allowed to work. I think they should, but it's just amazing that it should be like not a standard, but it's just I don't even know where to even go on that because it's just so crazy how messed up America is with these things. Um, but for instance, like me personally, I'm unemployed. I've been unemployed for a little while now. It's getting a little ridiculous, um, which is going to bring into another couple topics. So this is going to be a kind of a long video. Um, but me, I'm getting really tired of going out looking for work and just having the door slammed in my face over and over again. Uh, Basically, it's you're not old enough, or you're too old, or whatever. You don't have good credit. You don't have enough experience. You don't have the education. You don't have this. You don't have that. Every excuse in the book not to hire you, and they'd rather hire. Again, this is going to sound really, really racist, and I apologize, but they'd rather hire somebody for a sales position that doesn't speak any English than someone who has experience and actually can talk to people. So that's like insane. Like I've seen that. It's nuts, and they'd also rather hire a young kid rather than an old person like myself. But it is discouraging. But then again, that's where hope comes in. I'm hoping things are gonna get better because as of right now, my fiance is the one who's bringing home the bacon, which depresses me because I'm trying to help and do the best I can, and it's just bad. Like I mean, you can blame the economy all you want, which is true. But it's just getting worse. It really is. It's not getting better. It's getting worse and worse. Um, but anyway, it kind of takes me off topic. But another like small point with that, if you look at anything nowadays in America, everything in Spanish, German, French, especially like construction booklets, everything but English. English is all the way on the second page or all the way on the bottom. Um, I even heard I was reading something that they're going to start changing signs in America that like a stop sign is going to be in Spanish first, and then it's going to have another like an English thing on the bottom. It's like, really, really. I mean, you go to Mexico, you go to Italy, you go anywhere. There's nothing in English. It's all if you don't know the language, you're out of luck, dude. They want you to learn it, and what's really amazing is that a lot of people they do know English here, but they play the I don't speak English card, which is annoying, and they always say like simple fact that if you live in a country more than 6 months, you'll learn the language whether you want to or not. It's just your brain is picking it up. So, I mean that's kind of what happened when I went to Japan. I learned the language just because it just you know everybody talking to you, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? And then you figured it out. But anyway, moving on. I'm getting way off topic on things. But also, you were talking about welfare, and welfare is one of the biggest bitches in the world. I'm not gonna lie. The first and only time I went there when I was like, I think I was like 13, with my mom. And you're totally right. They treat you like you're a scumbag, like you're a piece of shit when you get there. The guy that we talked to, we looked like we were carrying the plague, or the fact that we're the biggest losers in the world. And it's like, dude, you have a job. Maybe you should be a little more sympathetic to somebody who doesn't. Um, but they really did. My mom was talking to the guy and says, "This is what's going on." The guy wasn't even listening. He was just like, you're a number to these people. They don't care. They want you in and out. They offer you the crappiest position possible, and a lot of times you'll take it because you're absolutely desperate. And my mom, thank God she didn't she was offered like all these really, really, really crappy jobs for nothing, and she was saying, I have a family I have to take care of. I need something that's going to sustain that, like that I don't have to come back to this. I want to be able to get a job where I can make the money to support my family. And this guy was just like, again, not even paying attention. He's like, you don't like the job, don't take it, get out of my office, basically. And they're just, it's amazing. Like government jobs, a lot of them, they really need people that would actually listen and care a little bit about what's going on, and things might get a little better. Um, but they don't. They don't. Again, you're a number. They don't care. They have their job. They're making their money up yours. Um, Me, like again, like unemployment. It hits kind of a nerve because I was collecting unemployment for a little while. I'm not anymore, but that's another story altogether. But the lady that I had at the unemployment office was actually a really nice lady, so I can't say anything bad about her. She really did listen. She took the time. She said, what's going on, what happened, and she would found me a job, and she busted her ass to get things done. Didn't really work, but still. The one thing that kind of gets me on that is like unemployment. Again, it's just I'm really really racist. I can't stress enough. I'm not racist. It's just observation. Is when I was in the unemployment offices, they make it so friggin' hard to collect unemployment when you legitimately need it. Like someone who's like me, I've worked for years and years and years, and just the way things are lately, it just couldn't keep the job. It's like, oh, you're not making your quota on this, you're not doing that. You're gone. We don't care. We'll get somebody, again, cheaper and younger or whatever to do the job. Um, but as I was there, I had to fill out all this paperwork, I had to go through all these screening things, you know, drug testing, all this crap just to collect like basically not even a third of your like not even like barely a quarter of what your old paycheck was. And then you get somebody, again, no offense, I actually seen it firsthand. This guy didn't speak any English whatsoever. Came in the same exact day I did. Walks up and goes to the counter, and the lady goes, can I help you? He's like, no habla English. So she turns around, gives him this like two page, not 2 words on a page basically form, whereas I had like 6 different pages of the phone. This guy had 1 page with 2 questions on it that he filled out, handed it in, and basically he stamped it, said go see that guy right over there, and pointed. That guy went over there, and next thing you know, he's done, and he's collecting probably like $1,000. Whereas I'm sitting there for hours on end waiting just to friggin' go over this crap. So that aggravates me, and that's what's wrong with the world. It's just insane how screwed up things are, and me personally, like again, one of the reasons I don't vote is I would love to see people not vote at all for a president and just see what would happen. I mean, that would be probably really chaotic, and it'd be interesting, but not that I really hope that would happen. But it'd be interesting because again, they're all full of shit, and they're not one person's gonna change things, no matter how hard they try. It's gotta go over time, obviously, and you gotta wait and see. But another thing, again, I got all this stuff here. King Joe, you were talking about taxing the rich and how expensive movies are and stuff like that, and you're totally 100% right again with that. I mean, if you taxed half of the rich people in the world, you could solve a lot of problems. But again, rich folk, they know all the loopholes, they know how to get in and out of things, that's why they're rich. Um, I mean, if you tax, like I said, you tax Oprah more than what, the $800,000, you would definitely have new roads, you would definitely have better school things, you definitely have so much stuff would solve a lot of problems, but they're not going to do it because, like, unfortunately, in this world, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and they're protected. Oh, I'll just send my money overseas or something. You can't touch it, which I guess is smart on their part, but it sucks because people like homeless people, it would go a long way. The rich people, they always like, oh, I donate, this and I donate that. It's like, no, you donated so you can get a tax cut. So don't look at it as like you're actually doing something good. You're doing it for yourself in the long run. But anyway, like movies in general, like the prices, they really are ridiculous. It is insane. Like I've actually stopped going to the movies. I'm very, very picky now. If I pick one to go to with my friends, a lot of times my friends are like, oh, come to this, come. I'm like, no, man, I can't afford it. It's just insane how much they cost. And of course, their defense is, oh, we're trying to combat bootlegging and all this stuff. It's like, dude, you're actually making bootleg more popular because you're charging so much money for a movie. Granted, I would love to see, like the Avengers I saw in the movies, I had to see that in the theaters. There are certain movies that I would love to just see in the theater, rather than buy them on bootleg. Not that I do that, but I'm just saying, um, they make it, some expensive. Like, you can go around. I mean, it sounds sick, but you can go to anywhere and find a bootleg for like $2 compared to a $15 ticket, and you can watch the bootleg over and over again without having to pay that extra $15. But bootlegging is bad. Don't do that. Anyway, moving on. Uh, Again, like even like movies, like it's amazing because same thing with comic books. I'm gonna tie this kind of in, so we're gonna say, uh, movies. It's just they're out of ideas. They're making remakes of remakes, and a lot of times they suck. And we're trying to do it for the new generation. It's like, no, you're out of ideas. That's why you're remaking movies that shouldn't be remade, because they were good enough as is, and they just should be touched. Like the Goonies, they're remaking that. Let it go. They're making the Gremlins. They're remaking RoboCop. It's insane. Like Total Recall was remade, it actually sucked. It's just, yeah. But anyway, moving on. Let's see. I have stuff said still written down. Also, King Joe, you were talking about the Collection Intervention. I love that show, and how you were saying that the guy kind of got ripped off because he traded in 2,000 comics for Incredible Hulk 181 and like a 9.0. The guy said or whatever it was, and it was signed by Herb Trimp, and you wouldn't do that deal at all. You have a very valid point. You really do. I mean, you said it. You did the math. I mean, in the boards, bags and boards alone, it was like $400 right there, and the comics. He's like, I want a book for them, which is reasonable, but for a fact that comic book guy is going to basically turn around and take one book out of the box and say, I'm charging $5 for this. So comic book stores again, like they're very greedy like that, because this guy like trying to make it look like, oh, well, I'm parting with my Incredible Hulk 181, it's a good deal, but then he flat out even turned around and said, oh, well, you're getting this book, and I'm going to be able to triple my money in a year or so, which is 100% true, because you look at it, the guy's going to charge $5, $6 a book. On top of now, he's got extra boxes. He's got their bag and board. He doesn't have to take that out of his inventory. And you're getting Incredible 181, which is a cool book. It really is. I mean, I have one like myself, but I've seen them, like you said, I've seen them go online for like $500 to $600, signed by both the creators, Len Wein and Herb Trimp, and in the same shape, going for like $500 or sometimes even less, give or take. I mean, a lot of times it's more, and even have ones that are graded, like $1,000 for a 9.0 graded signed, and this guy took the deal. For me personally, it would be a very tempting offer because I'd be looking at it, I'd be drooling. I'm like, oh my god. But now that I have one, I guess it doesn't matter. But I think what it really was with him is that you saw like the guy's apartment. He just didn't have room. He just really didn't have room. And it is kind of stupid to get rid of full runs like that. And I shared his pain, and I know what you're talking about. Like I was just like, oh my god, don't do it. But I think what it really was, it boiled down to his fiance or his wife. I don't know if he was married or not. I can remember. Basically, it's just like, you know what, we don't have the room, you don't have the big enough space. You gotta take a cut. You gotta kind of move on, I guess, and get some stuff out of there. And he did get a good book, but I don't know if that was really worth it. I think I would have cut it in half too. But that guy wasn't gonna budge, so it's one of those things. Because, like I said, comic stores I've worked at, they do the same thing. Like, you come with a big box of books, and a lot of times they won't even look at them, and they'll be like, "So, I'll give you $50 for this, for the whole box." And you got books in there that are worth like hundreds of dollars or whatever, and it's like, no, I really want. Oh well, I can't pay that, which is true, and it's not true. It is true because a lot of times they really can't afford to buy something for their for value because they got to make their money. But again, it falls into the thing where you don't want to overkill. But moving on. Let's see. I think I pretty much covered everything. Uh, Request Batman Comic 87. I am working on your request about my best of stuff. So I'm working on that right now, actually. So hopefully it'll be up soon. Another thing, King Joe. This has mostly been towards you, so I hope you don't mind. But I really do hope you get your museum. You make one because it would be pretty cool. I'd definitely go see it. I mean, I live in New York, and I'd go down there, especially if I know the owner. That'd be cool. The museum that I told you about is just very, very small. I think it's like a room, or one or two rooms as big as this apartment, which is not that big. They do have some really old comics. Like they have Amazing Fantasy 15. I think they have the first Superman. the first Green Lantern, all sorts of like old stuff and a lot of old toys, but they really have nothing compared to what you have in volume wise anyway. So I think you have a really good shot, and it'd be cool. I'd definitely go to a museum. Um, so I hope you do something like that, or even if you do your own store or something. It's again, you have an unbelievably impressive collection. I bow to you, sir. I bow to you. Me, the way I am is like the apartment I'm living in is I'm obviously I live with my fiance and I've kind of taken over. It's basically her apartment now, but I've taken over and she doesn't really mind. But we had to strike a deal that if we get a house, the deal was that she's allowed to decorate the house any way she wants, and I get a man cave out of the deal. Is it a good deal? I think it is because she'd probably beat my ass if I said no. Um, but I had to put a little clause in there. It depends on the man cave. Um, I agree to it, but I would like a sizable man cave because she said, I don't want to see this stuff anymore. She's like, I don't mind if you collect it, but I just don't. I'm tired of looking at it all the time. So I mean, what can you do? What can you do? I guess you got to kind of go with the flow on that one. But anyway, I've pretty much covered everything. This is a very long ass video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't piss anybody off too much. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the little like button. If you really like what you see and you're a new person watching these videos, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate all my new subscribers. I appreciate all my subscribers. Hopefully I'll hit big numbers eventually, and I'll do a contest like everybody else. I do have some ideas for that. Just have to wait and see. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. I can't really. I've gone through all my checklists, so I'm done. But thanks for watching again. And I'll see you guys in the next episode or update, whichever comes first. Lately, it's probably an update. I haven't got any packages yet, but I'm waiting on that. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I actually did a couple videos for some contests, so you'll see those pop up if you want to really watch them. But anyway, thanks for watching, and see you guys later.